Good morning. We've all received those phone calls. You know the one where they're trying to sell you something, a cold call? Well, one day I received a call, a lady trying to sell her coaching services to me. I already have a coach, don't need one, but I'm always looking for what I can learn from somebody else. So I said, sure, I'll hear your pitch. The pitch was fascinating. We talked about the usual coaching topics that everybody wants to know more about, how to invigorate yourself, keep your business moving. But this particular day, the story that really caught my attention was why Toys R Us had failed to change the direction of their business and had ended up closing. High debt prevented the store chain from creating different in-store experiences and beefing up their e-commerce. They needed to also have more money to be able to change the appearance of their stores and ensure that the employees were paid well. At this point, my cold caller talked about how the company had climbed the mountain very high, but they failed to make changes, so therefore, all they did was circle the top of the mountain. This really grabbed my attention. If you do not change the path that we're on, things will not change. And the vision of this mountain, going up the mountain and circling, kept going through my head over and over and over. You can ask the people who drove 17 hours one way to Houston and back last fall, because it's all I talked about. Disruption is happening everywhere. In an article that will be in a special magazine that is in the goodie bag that you're going to get if you have one of those tickets, she defines disruption as this: anticipating the upcoming needs of your customers and creating innovative strategies to meet those needs. Being a disruptor includes looking to other industries for solutions and innovations in our quilt shops. Summer feels very strongly about looking outside of our industry.
The idea of being a disruptor and like really looking outside of your industry to do that, be the Netflix of the world, or the, Airbnb, or the, Uber or whatever, and so the only way to do that is really to look outside your industry. Like, it's great to compare to competitors and see what they're doing, but then all you're doing is just kind of leveling the field to what they are doing, versus if you look outside your industry and you start, what technologies are other people using? How are they using social media in a way that appeals to you, or, you're seeing appeal to your audience, for example, what cool new ways are they doing that then you can take and bring into your industry, because that's the only way that you're going to really rise above, and become this innovator, this leader yourself, is, by bringing something in that's different. Like, everyone's doing something kind of the same way in most industries, but it's the person who actually does something really extreme that ends up being the one that people talk about.
So it was no surprise to me when I was attending an agricultural leaders meeting in March with my husband, when I heard this: disruption is our opportunity, innovation is our advantage. This is Beth Ford, CEO of Land O'Lakes. Ms. Ford might have been talking about dairy farms and butter this particular evening, but she could have just as well been here talking with you about cotton fabric and patterns. Whether it's getting rid of excess animal waste or excess fabric, our problems and challenges are amazingly similar. We must look inside of our industry, as there are many talented people doing incredible things, but blending those ideas with others from outside, and we can open up new opportunities for all of us. We are creatures of habit, and we must shake things up. Getting out of our comfort zone includes looking at what everyone else is doing.
Two ways, truly.
Two ways to get out of the comfort zone.
Yeah, and to get them to get out of that comfort zone. And the first way is just to take a look at what kind of foot traffic they're generating, what kind of sales they're generating, what kind of profit they're generating. and then go out and look at other stores who seem to be doing a great job, maybe not even in their own categories, but seeing those people. Two things happen. Number one, we all want to grow sales and make more money. I mean, or that's why we're here. The second thing that happens is my store measure up to what's happening in the marketplace, because the stores in the marketplace create the paradigm that customers expect from everybody. So if you're not in that race, you're going to be lost. That being the case, we encourage people to go out and take a look and say, what is everyone else doing? Don't just look at the categories you sell. Go to other stores as well. But take a look and say, is that a comfortable place for me or not from a merchant's perspective? It's called flipping the store. And what we mean is we don't want to change the whole store, but we want to flip the way the store communicates to a customer without ever having to talk to one person.
We can definitely mark times in all of our history where the path we were climbing was disrupted and a new course was mapped. Today is one of those moments. This is not my normal type of presentation, but I want to disrupt my business and make some changes. So I am here along with many of my experts. You've already seen Summer, Sharon, and Kaiser and Bender, but we've got several more. And I'm very pleased to say that Leanne Presley from Stitchcraft Marketing is actually here in person as well. You'll see her up on the screen in a few minutes. So today I want to challenge you. We want to make you think differently, and we want to give you some different ideas to think about. We want you to know that there is an offer for you for climbing up this mountain. We've got something we don't normally do, and so more information will be in your bag. But there's some very good gifts if you subscribe during the weekend. I like a good adventure, don't you? I know you're thinking, climb a mountain? I don't have the right shoes, we're not gonna have cell service, I'm not fit, I haven't been training, but you did make it to this room, so I know you are capable, right? Yeah, because, have you heard this quote? Argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours. You can overcome any of those things. I know you have courage. I know you're going to make this climb successful because you're an independent retailer in 2019, and that takes courage. We're going to climb this mountain together, and I'm going to go through a few different things for you to learn. First of all, we need to do some research. If we all had time, we'd go around the room and we'd hear what your story was. If you haven't talked to me for 5 minutes, maybe you'll have a chance this weekend, but you'll know that I'm extremely passionate about quilting. My grandmother taught me to quilt when I was a budding 4-H'er, and although I didn't go to college for quilting, I've spent more than 27 years of my professional career in the quilting industry. First helping consumers at American Patchwork and Quilting, then working as a sales manager with the Long Arm APQS, and then opening Hen and Chick Studio almost 8 years ago. And we're a fully equipped quilt shop and retreat center. And just over 3 years ago, I did purchase American Quilt Retailer. And if I ever get stumbled up in those APs and Qs, it's because they all go together, AQR. But I love what I do. And I know each of you does as well. There might be similarities, but your story is yours and it's unique to you. What's your story, and are you using it to brand your business?
We all have a reason why we're doing what we do. And there's usually a very deep reason for that. It's based on, our own history, our upbringing, our values. And there's usually a really beautiful story in there that sometimes we're not sharing. We're focused on the profit and getting customers in the door, but we're not sharing that, my grandmother, is the one who taught me how to do this. And she was this type of person in my life. And, this helped me, doing this hobby of mine, actually helped me get through this really difficult time in my life or whatever, these really beautiful stories behind there. And when we start sharing those, then, people feel really drawn to us. So it's going very deep. but once you get into the depth of that story, that's your brand, that's who you are, and that's what you should focus on, and, really keep just pushing towards that. And then people will be really attracted to that. They want to hear it.
Do you know your customer? We can start with research that Quilts Incorporated does and other companies and learn the basics of our customer. But have you ever created a customer avatar? And are you really researching exactly why somebody comes in your store and who they are?
Fleshed out description of who your target customer is. And so when we work a client through this customer avatar exercise, we help them identify exactly who they are. And you might actually have different customer avatars for different segments of your business, right? So in a traditional quilting shop, you are probably going to have the customer avatar of the 45 to 65-year-old female. She's probably got an advanced degree or at least a college degree educated. She's probably got more disposable income than most. You outline all of the characteristics that fit in with your customer. And for folks that are like, maybe that one is super obvious, but for folks that are like, well, I don't really feel like I know who they are, I would say there are certain tools and tricks that you can employ to figure that out. Obviously one of them is observation. Who's coming in your shop? Who's stopping by your booth at a festival? Who are the people that are engaging with your brand online? And we can do that in several different ways. If you're an online or your combo, brick and mortar and online, you can go to their social media channels and just do a little bit of, incognito research on them. This is an exercise I walk some of my clients through, and we actually go to your Facebook page, for example. We click on some of the people that are the most engaged in your social channels, and then we follow them backwards. We go to their profile account and we see, who are they? Oh, here we are. This is an older woman. She's got grandchildren. She's also interested in spinning and weaving. She's also XYZ PDQ, right? And if you do that enough, you'll get some commonalities, and it will start to create a picture of who your customer is. And so once you understand who she is, you can better meet her needs with products and offerings that she's looking for.
When I started evaluating my customers and really trying to look at why somebody new would come to my store, 3 things seemed to rise to the top: babies, graduations, and weddings. So I started changing the message that I was sending out through advertisements because of that information. I think that for somebody who doesn't quilt, seeing a pretty room full of bolts of fabric could be pretty, but it can be overwhelming. They don't know what to do with that. They don't know, how to maybe make a quilt. But if I can gain their interest in coming to the store based on the feeling that they would get when they make something or give something, I might be able to hook them. If I can get them in the store, I can take care of the rest. That's not a problem, but it's getting them in the store. So this year we did some different kinds of commercials. And with the help of a local TV station, this is one 15-second commercial I do. Creating memories is what we do best at Hen & Chick Studio. Whether it's a very special wedding, welcoming a new baby, or the happiness of graduation day, we love to share in life's joys. Hen & Chick Studio in Conrad. Simple, straightforward. Wouldn't believe how many people have signed up for my t-shirt making class. We need to know how our business is. This isn't always the glamorous part of the conversation, but we need to know what our current elevation is. We need to have the team that surrounds us in order to help us with that process. And when I was talking with Tom Shea, this would be 2 short videos here, he had a really strong feeling about the team that's around us, including an accountant.
An accountant is to help me as the owner of the store to understand things so that I make decisions. Not you, the accountant, make decisions. Things I am making the decisions here. You as an accountant are not qualified to make the decisions as to how this business is run. You are an advisor to me.
And I think that's really important. You need to have people and you need to have advisors. But when we're talking about the numbers, no matter what they are, good, bad, or ugly, there's a lot of information that I hear that quilt shop owners don't understand and don't know. And we're working very hard in the articles in American Quilt Retailer to help educate you as much as possible. So when I asked Tom what was one thing that everybody should know about their business, he said it is your current ratio.
There's one called current ratio. Now it's important, but where I'll backtrack and say, you know what the challenge is we don't know if the accountant's got the financial information correct because he hasn't had our input and we don't understand what the numbers are, that he may be making assumptions, which they all do, and maybe making assumptions incorrect. But current ratio says you look on your balance sheet that hopefully you're getting every month. And the top half of the assets, that's the stuff you own, is called current. And then you look at the liabilities, that's the stuff you owe, and it's got a bunch that's current. And you say, let's look at them together. This is assets, this is liabilities. If assets current and liabilities current are like this, that's saying, you know, over the next year, it's looking pretty dadgum good for you that you can pay your bills. Not that sales will be great, margin, it just says you can pay your bills. As they get closer and closer like this, it's looking kind of dicey. And when it gets like this, you go, odds are you're not going to have money to pay the bills. You just got to look at the two numbers, one against the other. So if I had like 2 to 1, I'm going to go sleep really good at night.
Being good in business is the most fascinating kind of art. Making money is art, and working is art, and good business is the best art. We've got to have mental strength and attitude. Every mountain climber needs to be strong and to have a positive attitude. We've got to have an open mind, good mindset. What is one thing you could do today to have a stronger sense of what you are doing as a business owner? Guess what? Look around. You are sitting on a gold mine. You are next to shop owners from all over the country. And I encourage you to exchange business cards, to ask questions of each other, and to definitely pull your resources together and lift each other up. It is amazing to me what can come from conversations with people who are also running shops. Almost 20 years ago, I sat in the back of a schoolhouse, and a shop owner I didn't know introduced me to a shop owner I didn't know. Not only did that person become a very solid business contact for me, ended up being my dearest friend yet today. So use the resources you've got in this room to help you be stronger mentally and to have a good attitude. Because when you're having a bad day, if you have a shop owner you can talk to, they're gonna say, you know what, this is one moment of time. If you have something you want to celebrate, these are the people in the room that are going to get it and are going to understand. So we absolutely want to take advantage of that. How else can we be prepared and be ready to go? Read, 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 read. Soak up as much knowledge as you possibly can. We as shop owners, we know how to answer questions about how to get a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance. But are we answering the correct questions and know where to go to get the answers for how to run our business? And that is critical. When we're talking about problem solving, we must build relationships. Today we're going to talk a little bit about websites and social media.
So we don't start selling to people really until we get them on our website, till we get them in our email list. And so social media should be all about relationship based. You're not trying to say, hey, come buy this. Hey, I've got this going on. You know, like you can maybe put some of, you know, your events or something in there a little bit, but you're really wanting to give them what they're desiring. So they're wanting, you know, whatever, they're wanting articles on how to accomplish something, you know, maybe it's talking about that, or, you know, you're giving on social media. That's all you're doing, because you really want to build a strong relationship, because they're not going to come to your website probably until they have that relationship established. And it's just not the place. People are really turned off. There's so many ads on Facebook that people ignore. They're just so turned off by that. They don't want people just bombarding them when they go to social media. So it really has to be a relationship platform. That's just what it's built for.
So identify with your customers. Post pictures like this one that I posted just recently that has gone to the most liked photo I have. It's because we can identify with this. And I put up just a few of the statistics. And for me, this is a big picture, which is quite funny. It's threads on pants. But they love it. They love to be entertained, and they like that you're identifying with them. We need to match our online work with our brick and mortar.
It's amazing what you find if you just look, but the two have to match, and what happens in your store has to be better.
And we must create quality content. No longer is it just a website. We've got to have reasons why they're coming to the website and have good quality content. Leanne tells us more about that.
In 2019, in terms of effective marketing strategies for businesses that have a website, we're starting to see quite a shift away from some of the traditional search engine optimization strategies, like, oh, all you need to do is change your description and your meta tag, and let's just throw in a couple keywords, and then we'll be good. People will find us online. And I think that that's a misnomer. We're starting to see in 2019 some big shifts towards quality content. And so again, I think that retailers, even quilt shop owners, need to be thinking about this. If you have a website, you're going to want to start creating quality content that Google views as valuable, that's going to drive content back to your website and bring that traffic in. So if you're launching a new area of your business, let's say the cosplay again, you're going to have a whole bunch of classes on how to construct cosplay garments, and this is a whole new sector you're going to do. And other ideas might be, like the EPP or different quilt techniques, upcycling, recycling. There's so many different topics that people could be bringing in. Once you determine what your new topic is going to be, you need to create content around that topic in the form of blog posts or actual landing pages on your website that help people bring that traffic to your site.
All I can say is we need to be authentic, not necessarily original. The more true you are to yourself and to what you're doing, the more your customers will like it. And do what needs to be done, but do it because you want to, not because customers are saying, I want this or I want that. We cannot be everything to everyone, so you must own what you do and do it well, and know that if you're behind it, your customers will be as well. There's lots of tools that we need to climb this mountain. We've got to be forward thinking, sort of like the cows and the dairy cows and what they did to create power in a local city. But we've got to be thinking about virtual reality. We've got companies like Judy Niemeyer, who's doing Quiltster and EQ programs where they help pick out fabrics. But I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we've got to help customers with, and that is finding that right shade of green and the right print to look right in the specific corner of a quilt. And I think virtual reality is going to be the next thing. And Summer and I had a great discussion about this.
Like the music industry, for example, is starting to look at how they can use virtual reality. So we're seeing it in other industries. It's becoming more of a thing. So, it's not like you can go to Walgreens and buy a virtual reality set. It's not like it's not a, high level technology anymore. It's not something that you have to spend a lot of money on like you would have needed to in the past. So is there a way, like people are looking at ways they can use that in their own company? So maybe it's that virtual reality, you have a virtual reality system that, can see a finished product. You know, maybe it can take the elements, you know, like you've got fabric samples, for example, you know, and it can take all those elements and show you what something could look like in its finished state just through a headset.
Can you imagine putting a pair of glasses on with 5 bolts in front of us and seeing what the finished quilt will look like? We think it's in the future. There's also things where you've got to make sure that our online customers are as excited and capable of buying things. And Kaiser and Bender talk about BOPUS.
BOPUS, which is buy online, pick up in store, which even if you don't sell online, you might have merchandise that you're showing on social medias. You might have merchandise for sale on Facebook or Instagram, and the customer sees it online, reserves it. Maybe that's through an email or a phone call, but they still can buy it online and pick it up in store, because that's huge right now.
One of the things that we also need to do is make sure that we're constantly making sure that customers know what it is we have to do. And I love this particular segment from Leanne, because I know you're all going to relate to this.
I like to say, first you need to tell them that you're going to tell them. And then next, you need to tell them. And then next, you need to tell them that you told them, right? Because if you just tell them, you're going to lose people. I mean, we're in an era now where there's so much information coming in. People are bombarded by newsletters and social media and all the distractions. And so, you know, if you just do a surgical strike in your social media or your new marketing announcements that, you know, you're offering cosplay, for example, you're going to lose people. So in order to keep them along the path as you're going, you've got to do all those small little baby steps, right? So that might look like, when you're going to tell them that you're going to tell them, you're going to say teaser content. Hey, we've got this great new thing that's coming up soon. If you sign up for our newsletter, you're going to be the first one to find out about this brand new XYZ, you know, whatever that might be. Get them starting to pay attention to you. Get them listening, and get them on the newsletter list. That's another great way to keep them on your path. And then once your launch happens, you know, make a big deal out of it. Show them you're enthusiastic and excited about it. I encourage people, do some Facebook Live. Be brave. Get out there and do a big launch. Put it in your social channels. Maybe do some advertising. Of course, put it in your newsletter. So that's the middle stage. And then the latter stage is you need to tell them that you told them, right? Because there's, of course, going to be people that missed the first 2 announcements, and they're going to be like, oh, I didn't know you were doing this new whatever it is. And in your mind, you'll be thinking, oh my gosh, I've been telling you for months that we were adding this new thing to our lineup of offerings. But to them, they're distracted, lots going on. You're going to need to tell them that you told them, right? So maybe in subsequent newsletters, you'll say, don't forget, we just launched our brand new XYZ, and continue to maybe offer a promotion or a special offering, a coupon sometimes people do, and so on. So again, I just do that 3-stage to keep them along your path of introducing something new. So hopefully that's helpful.
So we're going to tell them we told them, and tell them we told them again. We're going to do that over and over, because there's so many different things that we need to keep doing. And one of the things is sales strategies. And I'm not going to go into great detail in this one, because we are already running out of time, if you can imagine. But there will be an entire article about this. And if you want to talk to me in the booth about gift certificates rather than discounts.
The more you discount, the more you're attracting a customer that is a price shopper. They're going to go to whichever store has the lowest price. We call them bottom feeders. So instead of discounting, we say, give a person a gift card. Figure out what your average sale is. Say it's $80. Well, if that's what the average person is going to spend, then the gift card kicks in at $100, getting you to spend an extra 20 bucks. And it says, spend $100 in our store today, and I'll give you a free $25 gift card. So now what you've done, instead of discounting $100 of merchandise and selling it for, say, 80 bucks, you're selling it for 100 and you're getting $100 out of it. So full margins maintained. Now you give the person the gift card. Say it's whatever amount you want to make it to be. You got to do the math, and that's why there's the free calculator on the website. So you pick the amount and you give the person the gift card, which means that customer either A, comes back, or B, they give it to somebody else. So if all the gift cards are redeemed, what was 10 customers is now 20 customers. Wow, we just doubled the floor traffic in the store. We did not give away any discounting in the first sale. In the second sale, if I gave you a $50 gift card, if you had a 50% margin, then my cost is only 25 bucks. But what we have found is the person coming with that $50 gift card outspends the average customer. So now they're going to spend, let's say, I was going to go ahead and spend 100, but wow, I get $50 free, so I'll spend 100, but I'll get $150 worth of merchandise. So what you've now created is a second sale of which you're going to sell $150 worth of merchandise, and your added cost is 25 bucks. And you go, golly, lot more traffic, lot better margin. That's the premise of it.
I did this in March and April, and I saw my single transaction go from $47 to $63 per person, and I saw the actual number of transactions go from 323 to 424 transactions in the same time period. It's definitely worth looking at, and there will be an article in, I believe it'll be the August issue. But when we're climbing this mountain together, we have got to work together. You've got to educate, you've got to train, you've got to be able to keep everybody going in the right direction. You've got to have a strong staff, and you've got to be able to recognize that these people are working hard for you. And I talked with Beth Montpass, who is a coach, about the difference between recognition and feedback.
I think recognition and feedback are two different things. Recognition is appreciation and the positive things you really want to bring out in family members or your employees. Recognition is one of the strongest ways of promoting your company loyalty amongst your employees. They say 88% of your people value recognition from you over monetary awards. And feedback is neutral. Feedback is neutral data. It isn't negative or positive until you attach something to it.
So we're going to plan our climb. We're going to make sure that we know what we want to do to change things up in our business. We're going to stay motivated because I know that each of you can, and this isn't over until it's over. And you can change, you can make differences, and it is absolutely something that you can constantly start over and try something new today. And of course, we need to celebrate. Earl Nightingale's definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. Success is not only when you have checked a box, not only when you have reached a certain dollar amount or a race or a certain weight on the scale. Said another way, as long as you are purposefully moving forward towards something, you are succeeding.
Fall in love with being a retailer. I appreciate you love the merchandise. I appreciate you love what you do. But fall in love with being a retailer. That's what the customers notice, the fact that you can run a business. I have never seen a retailer that Amazon put out of business. I've never seen a business, an independent retailer that Walmart put out of business. Because what I observe is independents who put themselves out of business because they don't learn how to run a business. It's, let's see, was it Tony and Captain and Tennille? Was it Sonny and Cher? You know, love is all we need. Love will see us through. Love will keep us together. All that other stuff that goes along with it. Okay. Oh, I love being a quilt shop. I just love it. Because I love it so much, I'll be successful. Okay. The songs didn't work. Neither does that concept either. Okay. Fall in love with being a retailer.
Had to get that one in. In closing, Robin Moriarty she's a personal development expert, says, "From the moment we're born, other expectations shape our behaviors, choices, and definitions of success. Conditioning is part of every society, and it's not necessarily bad. It just means that someone else is defining your bigger game of life for you. When you climb your own mountain, you write the rules, you decide what winning looks like, you control the choices, you make the moves, you design the path to be what you want it to be. And so no matter what mountain others are climbing, you're planning your own summit and you're winning." So have a successful show, and thank you.